Are you sick and tired of hitting shots just like these ones on screen now? Then today in this short game lesson we are going to be teaching you how to chip better around the greens to help you lower your scores and enjoy your golf a little bit more. We're going to be talking about different lies on this video, how to improve your contact, how to pure your chips, and like we said earlier, get those scores coming down.
So guys, if you are new to the channel, then welcome to this channel. And if you're a continuous viewer, if you're a regular viewer of the channel, welcome back. So guys, hopefully we can help you with these simple tips. So it's 3 simple tips, and by the title you'll see that it is for beginners. But it's not for beginners really, this is for every level of golfer, because how many times I see people getting this wrong, even if they're a 3 handicap or if they're a 33 handicap. And the first thing we want to talk about today is setup. So setup's a key thing that, yes, we talk about a lot and you'll see in a lot of videos, but this is the kind of setup I see when people have a chip shot. And if we didn't have a green there, you wouldn't be able to say how far I was hitting that ball. That could be going 5 yards, that could be going 105 yards. And that's where we start to get some issues. So we start to get some issues here where the club, because we're a little bit further away, sometimes the club starts to work a little bit inside. From here, we've got a lot of work to do to get that back square to that ball with the right angle of attack to get the ball flighted exactly as we want. The opposite we see there is because people are a little bit further away, they start to pick that club up and they start to get into this position here. And again, from there, it's going to be very hard to strike that golf ball correctly. So we've got 2 different takeaways, but we've also got a lot of movement, because in the full swing we know that we're trying to get your weight over onto your right hand side, loaded on this right hand side, and then from there we want to move that weight across onto that left foot. But when we're making such a small motion, I don't have time to match that up, and this is where missed strikes can come from. This is where we start to lose your low point. For example, your low point could be anywhere from here all the way through to those golf balls, but where really we want a nice little circle around that golf ball where we're controlling where that club comes back to the ball each time. So for me, what I want you to do is think about, I'm going to be around about a foot away from the ball. So you see there, straight away I'm a lot closer, I'm a lot taller, and if I make a motion here, there's a lot less that can go wrong. You can see that if we use the terminology that doesn't always come across correctly, it's more straight back and straight through. But when I say that, I mean that it's straight back on the arc. You can see that that club has worked a little bit on the inside, it'll come back to square, and it'll go a little bit on the inside on the way through. You also see for these shots, again, even if it was a little bit further back, let's say it was 20, 30 yards away, always in the rough, we can also get the stance a lot narrower. So around about a club width apart and left foot turned out. You can see here that's going to allow me to be able to turn through the shot a little bit better. If I get those feet square, I'm very limited to what I can do, and we start to see shots just like this. Because even if everybody gets everything right, we start to see shots where I've caught that a bit clean. And you'll see there from that motion, if I slow that down, you'll start to see that I was actually moving back this way. Because I can't rotate as good, I've fallen back a little bit, I've used my hands and I've released that club, and I'm in this position right here, adding loft onto that golf ball. The club is working up off the ground, and that is then as a result going to get you hitting the middle of that golf ball. So feet together around about a foot away from the golf ball, and then we need to talk about, right, we've got the setup good now, where is my weight? And that's a big thing that we need to get right to be able to hit better shots and then get that checking near the flag. And when we talk about weight distribution, we've got to think here, so my stance is a little bit narrow and my weight wants to be left. So yes, my whole body, my sternum wants to be a little bit ahead of the golf ball. And what that's going to encourage that club to do is work down into the golf ball, which will get the ball coming up, we'll get the spin control, and we'll get the trajectory that we desire. A lot of people, when I say get your weight left, will often do this. The knees go left, but the body stays behind. And if we do that, we're still going to get the tendency to fall back, catch the ground back here, and again, not get that strike that we desire. So once we're in there, left foot's turned out, I'm just going to put a little bit of pressure. I'm going to talk about having 60% on that left hand side. From there I can now get rotated through. I'm going to encourage to hit down on the golf ball, and hitting down onto the golf ball is what pops that golf ball up. What we don't want to do is start to see that your weight is on your right hand side, because again, we might get that low point a little bit back, but we also might get those shots. If you're somebody who chips your shots, you've got a lot of wrist in there, you time it okay, but it pops up and only maybe goes 5 yards when you're trying to hit it 20 yards, or if you're a little bit further back, you just don't get your distance control. So weight wants to be left, sternum ahead of that golf ball, and from there we can make a nice simple motion, turn the chest back, turn the chest through, and we've got control of that club both ways, and my weight is still on that left hand side. And if you're sat there thinking, Chris, I do those things, I've got my stance narrow, I'm closer to the ball, and my weight distribution is correct, then it could be number 3, the third reason why we see a poor short game from a lot of golfers. And like I said at the start of this video, I have got a training device in Hackmotion that I have been using that could help you improve your short game. Or maybe it's something that your coach has which you can get on and start to understand, is this the issue that is causing you not to lower your scores and lower your handicap. So one thing, once we've got into this position, is I see from a lot of people, yep, weight is left, we're closer to the ball, we're taller, but we start to have the only thing that's in contact with the club starts to take over. So what we see a lot of times is that people take this club away and they'll start to extend this wrist, and you'll see that on screen there, how I've extended that. And look at that club face pointing straight up to the air, and again that's worked a little bit on the inside, and from there I've got a lot of rotation to square that up and get that back down to the golf ball. And even if I do, there's going to be more loft on that club, and what we often see from that position is maybe that shot there, right to the right even, a shot out to the right that comes off the dreaded part of that golf club. So if we don't see that, you might see one that goes really high and right, and if we do see that, that's a big telltale sign for you that that's the position we've got into. Like you say, we can see that on screen, we've extended this angle here, and that's a big sign for you for something to work on. So the opposite we see from there is we see a lot of golfers go, okay, well I've been told I need to keep the ball down, and they'll start to work this way. So you'll see that the wrist has worked in the opposite direction now, and you'll see that club face is pointing straight down to the ground. So from here, what I often see is people will bottom out a little bit early, or you'll get those drop kicks that go to the left. So I've not really got much control on there. And what we want to see from the wrists is that we're starting to see it very neutral. And this is where obviously Hackmotion comes in, because we've got that feedback. And for me, I was struggling with my short game. Although I'm a short game coach, this was an area of the game that I was struggling. I lost the contact, but I didn't know why. So I've worked on getting my wrists a lot more neutral, so I get into that good posture. I can just turn the chest back, keep the club out in front of me, and you'll see there I can get a nice consistent strike. Club stays out in front and right over the edge of that hole. So there's no real rotation on the face. And this is in short game where people think, well, I've got to hinge the wrist, I've got to put loft on. If we want that ball to go higher now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to open my stance ever so slightly and put the loft on down at the golf ball, so it's already open. I've got more loft on that club, but I'm going to make the same motion there. So I'm not going to be thinking about doing anything with my wrist nice and neutral. And you see there, I've generated 2 different flights with 2 good results. So guys, there's going to be a lot more coaching coming on. We're going to be getting Dave on here with some coaching lessons and showing you different devices. We've also got 2 new gentlemen going to be joining the channel again, one in the teens and one in the 20s. So we're going to be testing out training aids, testing out the tips, so they can help you and show you how it's worked for them, what maybe they've done wrong, what maybe they've done right, with a little bit of guidance from myself. So guys, hopefully you're enjoying the content, and again, hit that subscribe button below. We are aiming for 50,000 by the end of the year.